Alrighty, I am here with Kyle Mercer, and he is the college pastor at First Baptist Church of Durham, and in North Carolina. So it's about an hour and a half from here, our campus at Piedmont, and he is looking to plant in the near future in Winston-Salem, where Piedmont is, and so he is in the middle of putting together a core team, and that's one of the our topic this week for class is how to build and put together a core team, and so I thought it'd be really neat to have Kyle's input for today, simply because he's in the middle of doing it, and so he was probably doing some recruiting last week. He'd probably be doing some this weekend or next month. He may be doing some traveling or talking with church people. So I thought it'd be really good to kind of give that perspective, because we've had some other guys in the class so far have talked about how they did do it 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 10 years ago. I thought it'd be really neat for a guy who's just actively doing it. So Kyle, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, hey, Dustin, thank you so much, and just it's an honor to be Skyping with you. I'm excited about the tour you gave me not too long ago of Piedmont International University, and great campus, great students, and also just want to publicly thank you and Will Plitt and others, just the Christ Together guys, how kind you guys have been to me from a distance as well as from as I've gotten close, just showing me the city of Winston, teaching me a lot of things about church planning. I'm learning a lot from you guys already, so just really grateful to come on for a few minutes and share a little bit what I'm experiencing right now. So thank you.
Awesome. And we are happy to help. We are our school and even our local churches here, we're all about collaborating for gospel saturation of our city, and that includes for sure church planting and bringing in guys and raising up guys from here. So we're glad to have you coming to Winston. I'm excited. We've done some good tours. We did I gave the dollar taxi tour with Kyle a few months ago. He probably was fearful for his life and my crazy driving, but actually I wasn't driving. I was just doing the tour guide. But man, we're excited to help you find a spot here, a community here that you can just invest the gospel into. And like I was mentioning before we started recording, I want you to recruit from Piedmont. I want you to recruit from our church. We wanted to help resource however we can. And so, man, thanks for chatting today. We're basically going to we just want to hear your story about what you are doing now to actively recruit. But before we get that, tell me a little bit more about why you want to come to Winston-Salem to plant. What is it about the city that is bringing you here, and how you're doing that through the two churches that are mobilizing you for that?
Yeah. Well, man, it's been kind of a long process. I lived in, just if I could just go back a few years, and I grew up as a Roman Catholic, a nominal Roman Catholic in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Came to faith in Christ at the end of high school, and was brand new believer, and ended up at college at Elon University. So I think about an hour or so from Winston, and so that's what brought me down to North Carolina. So that was what got me to this state, and got down here and just loved I was in a small town, Burlington, but afterwards worked for Campus Outreach for 5 years in Greensboro. So I lived in Greensboro, North Carolina, also about an hour from you guys. Lived in Greensboro for for 5 years, and my wife and I love the city, love the people, love the need that we saw there, as well as we just loved life in that city. And then we actually moved to Durham 3 years ago. We're really sad to leave Greensboro and move to Durham. Loved Durham, and we're in Durham, and we love Greensboro. We're thinking, is there any cities like Greensboro and Durham that would need more churches? And of course, every city, as you and I have talked about, and Will and I have talked about, need more. There's more lostness, need more churches. But just thought, is there a network? Is there a group of local churches that would be excited about a city, and I might be a fit? And really, it was talking with FBC Durham, and knowing I wanted to be, Lord willing, wanted to plant a church. Talking to my wife, feeling like, man, we would love if there was an opportunity somewhere, somewhat locally, to do that. And then we were actually talking to FBC, and we were talking to the Summit, and the Summit said, hey, at the time, they said, hey, there's 2 or 3 cities that we are really, we have yet to plant a church in North Carolina that we're really excited about. And 2 of them I remember them mentioning were Boone, which is a great place, App State's right there, and they mentioned Winston. As soon as they mentioned Winston, I thought, wow, I've been to Winston. What a cool city. I loved Greensboro, but Winston's even got more of a downtown. I thought, man, I'm really passionate about reaching college campuses, and Winston has 4 very hard campuses that need the gospel. Whether it's I've ministered at Duke and now here in Durham, and they've got, you guys down there have Wake Forest. I'm excited about. I've gotten some opportunities to do some stuff at NC Central a little bit. You guys have Winston-Salem State.
Yep.
You got Salem College, UNC School of the Arts. So when I saw the downtown area, and I thought, this is a growing, thriving, you let me know 100,000 people are going to be moving there in the next 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
I saw that there was projection of growth, more and more people moving there. I saw the lostness there, the campuses, the need there. Honestly, another thing for my wife and I was the medical community. Not that I have no experience in medicine, but my wife's a nurse. And so when we realized, well, there's 2 huge, Novant Health, Wake Baptist, you've got hospitals, you've got campuses, you've got a city that's growing. And then we felt like the triad, from what we've been told, is in many ways becoming more and more like the triangle. It's growing. And so we just thought long term, we would love to plant not only a church, but our family there. And so I guess it was a mixing of like where we felt like it was a fit, where there was a need, and where there was an opportunity. Those are probably the 3 categories I would say for me.
Yeah.
It felt like a fit for me and my family. There was clearly a need there. And then probably the biggest thing was the summit really first, and then FBC saying, hey, this is a city we are looking to raise up and send a man to.
Nice. Well, that's awesome. And I've been here in Winston for about 10 years now, and I've seen a handful of really solid gospel-centered churches come here, and we need more. I mean, as you say, our city is growing, our campuses are growing. And so each year the percentage of lostness is increasing year by year as these people are moving here. They're not coming from Christian areas, so to speak. They're not all coming from a Christian background, so they're moving here, and so the level of lostness is increasing each year. So we've got to plant more churches like crazy here in Winston just to keep up with that. And so we're excited for you to come. Tell me a little bit about how you are actively right now recruiting a core team to move to Winston-Salem, and so it may be some of your recruiting who already live in Winston, or some who are not in Winston that you're recruiting to move here. Just give me just a handful of some practical things that you're doing and places where you are recruiting from right now.
Yeah, man. Thanks for asking. That's a great question. So there's in my mind at least 4 main areas that I'm recruiting from. And I'll kind of give them to you in order. Number 1, there's my local church here in Durham. My church has really gotten behind me, FBC Durham here, and they've, within reason, basically said, hey, we want you to, we're going to let you preach and share the vision of your church and recruit on a public level. We're about a 600-person church. So I'm allowed to, preach and say, hey, as one of the applications, consider praying, giving, going kind of idea. So I'm going to get to do that. And, my goal is that I would love to see, I would say at least 5, hopefully maybe more like 10 or 15 individuals from my church, whether that be a few families, some young couples, a few individuals come with me. So that's one area. The second area I'm recruiting from is the Summit Church. The Summit is, they've got 4 churches this year that they're putting in front of their entire 10,000 member congregation, which has been just I feel totally humbled, like I haven't done anything to have that type of status or that type of platform. But they put me and 3 other guys in front of 10,000 people and put links on websites. And so I'm not getting tons of emails, but I've probably gotten 10 or 15 emails just of people either that live in Winston, live in the RDU area or something, that are saying, hey, we're interested in moving, we're interested in praying, we're interested in going. So it would kind of be FBC Summit and then Campus Outreach. So I worked for Campus Outreach for 5 years, and they were really generous to me. Campus Outreach has a lot of different franchises, and the Campus Outreach that's in Charlotte and the Campus Outreach that's here in Raleigh, they brought me down to their summer beach projects, which are about 150 students, and they had me speak at their summer beach projects and recruit students as one of many of their opportunities for graduating seniors.
Nice.
So you would say I've got FBC, I have the Summit, I've got Campus Outreach, and then the 4th one is just people. This is not a big category, but a few connections in Winston. Like right now, there's one couple in Winston that I discipled. The guy the husband, I discipled him in college when he was in college. and he and his wife just moved to Winston, and they're excited about being part of our church plant when we get there. So I've got one couple in Winston. Maybe there'll be some other people. But those are kind of the four categories I'm thinking of: FBC, the Summit, so my 2 local churches, campus outreach, the administrator I used to work for, and then some who might be in Winston already through other connections that might be interested in joining.
Well, that's really cool. So go ahead and add to your list Piedmont International University. We were discussing.
You were kind enough to put that out.
Yeah, but we're going to have you come and do some heavy-duty recruiting, because I know that when you're coming, you want to offer every college student who comes like a $20,000 salary package just to be a member, right? I mean, that's how church plants roll, right? No, just kidding. But yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. We do want you to recruit from here for sure, and so more Winston connections we can provide you with. We would love to help. And so it sounds like you're doing a lot of kind of North Carolina people to recruit, which I think is really wise since you're going to a North Carolina city. They're going to understand broadly the culture. Going from Greensboro to Winston, or Raleigh to Winston, or even Charlotte to Winston or either city, it's not going to be a drastic cultural change for many of these people, which will, I think, help you get started kind of stronger up front, because you're not having to cross a lot of cultural barriers with your core team. You've got a group that really understands even the mission and vision. Well, I think those 4 areas are really helpful. I mean, your local sending church and the Summit Church, the network you're planning out of, your past connections vocationally with campus outreach and college students. I think recruiting college students is so key. They graduate, they need jobs. Have them get a job in Winston and come with you. I think that's a brilliant strategy. So kind of maybe the next question that may be really beneficial is, so when you're meeting with some of these individuals, or you're answering emails, what is the first thing that you kind of say to them to try to get them interested? Like, what is it? Do you advertise the lostness of Winston? Do you advertise, like, what is it that you're trying to, I guess, hook people with and say, hey, let me hear this, let it break your heart for the gospel need in Winston? Kind of give a thought. What is that you're saying to people?
Yeah, man. Well, I think for me, I was taught this a while ago, and I think this has been true, that I think people ultimately follow, or they give to, or they go with 3 things: either vision, people, or needs. And so for me, I try to talk about all 3. So I try to really my wife and I try to share our story with people. Just try to say, here's who we are, here's who our family are, here's our testimonies, here's what God's done in our life, here's our love for college students, here's who we are, here's our influence by FBC and this summit and these. So this is kind of, we just talk about who we are, and there's some people who are coming because, or are interested or pursuing us. And it's not necessarily even at this point that they're excited about Winston, although it's a great city and we're telling them about it. So that's the first thing. The second thing is we're sharing a lot of the vision. So here's the type of church we want to be. We want to be a gospel-centered church. We want to reach lost people. We want to preach the word. We want to see the local church reach out. We want to reach the college camp. We do vision, and then the other thing is just need.
Yeah.
So vision and need, there's a lot of overlap there, but need is just when we talk about a campus like Wake Forest University, which has 5,000 undergrad students, but very little gospel witness and very little evangelical presence and very, very small amount of Christian students there. Or we talk about you've helped me understand the growth, what's happening with the Innovation Quarter, just how the greenways are coming in and how the city's becoming more and more connected, and how we're just like, I think with the overflow of Charlotte and Raleigh, we're seeing such a growth in cities like Greensboro and Durham and Winston and Wilmington and other places that I just try to say, hey, there's a need here. And so those are the 3 categories I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Normally, once I get in that relationship with someone, if I don't know them, like right now I'm responding to some emails, one of the first things I found most helpful to ask is, hey, 2 questions. One, what's your testimony? I'd love to would you mind sharing a little bit of your testimony with me? And 2, why are you interested in this church plant? And I've been surprised. I mean, sometimes I'm really impressed with the answers I'm getting, impressed in the sense of, wow, God's really worked in their life, or I'm impressed at, man, their skills, their vision. Other times it's also I've learned something. I just had a girl who emailed me, and she came out of the Baha'i faith, and it sounds like she might be living with her boyfriend. And I'm thinking, wow, this is not this was not necessarily the core team member I was thinking about, but I might be having a person who's lost trying to be interested she kind of talked a lot about looking for a community in Winston.
Yeah.
And she'd heard about, through the internet. So those have been two helpful conversations that I'm having early on. And then the last thing I'd say is that I got this advice from a guy at the summit was just to try to keep things warm right now. And what I mean by that is I just try to say to people, hey, if you're at all interested, can I put you on an email list? And the email list is just going to be pictures and brief updates and brief prayer requests.
Yeah.
And I've been able to get dozens, not hundreds, but dozens of people on that list as a sense of, hey, I know you're not committing right now, but let me just keep you updated on, hey, I preached here, or hey, I did an interview with Dustin here. Just kind of I'll give them updates about things like this that I'm doing and different things like that.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Do you have a prospectus that you're kind of that you have developed and put together?
I really haven't at this point. I mean, that's one thing I know that I'm pretty sure that Summit. I think I said I'm in a 9-month residency right now. That's kind of slowly taking us through. Here's what we should be doing. One of the things, kind of the way that it's working with the Summit Network, and I'm really, rather than join this residence. I really do believe God's calling me to this, but I feel my wife and I both felt a sense of inadequacy of even just what questions to ask and what to do next. And even our church, FBC, is very strong, godly, Orthodox, Bible-believing, gospel-preaching church. We very much, as a church, as the elders felt, we need help in planning this church. So, and what steps to take. I know one of the things that we're doing is we're going to have our first interest meeting November 2nd here at the summit. And that'll be kind of the first time that we'll actually gather together a group of people interested.
Nice.
And I also know that one of the things that I heard, and I don't know, Dustin, if you know a lot about this, but I know one of the things that the summit said they do, which might be somewhat unique, but they said they've seen a lot of fruit from, is they do an assessment with every core member who comes on their team. It's not a super long assessment.
Wow.
But they do an assessment process with any core member, and they said that that it did that, and I don't have a copy of that yet. I don't know what that looks like exactly. What they said to me, though, was they've sent out over 300 people with church plants over the last 5 years. They've only had 3 come back, three members who went with a core team, not pastors, but just members or people, and they said all 3 people skipped the assessment process.
Wow, that is brilliant.
So what it is it's the idea that in the sense that we do a good job usually assessing a member to come into our church, and are they a believer? But there's even another level of assessment of, hey, is this going to be a fit? Is Winston going to be a fit? Is being a part of a church plant going to be a fit for your kind of life stage, lifestyle? And I think they've found a lot of fruit in that, because sometimes you get a lot of times you get some really solid driven people with church plants, but other times you get somebody who just wants to do something exciting. They want to move to a new city. They don't necessarily want to do the hard work of sowing and cultivating and meeting lots of unbelievers and all the other things that you and I know go into a church plant.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I know that, and I really appreciate your perspective on you're in the middle of it, how you don't yet have the prospectus, and that's completely cool because that's part of your getting ready. And I mean, and doing this assessment of the core team, I think that's absolutely brilliant. I'm gonna have to call Josh Miller there, get him to send me that document, because I need to include that in what we're doing. I think that's smart. And man, dude, I appreciate.
I have that document right now. I don't know how I've heard it. What it was thing. One of the church planners a couple of years ago started doing, and everybody else in the network kind of adopted it and said, hey, this is kind of one of the sayings I've heard is, hey, your first 30 will look, something like that. The saying goes, your first 300 will look like your first 30. And not that every church is going to even grow to 300. Let's just say your first 100 look like your first 10. The point is that a lot of times your church will end up looking a lot like you guys probably talked about this, but a lot like your core team, and so making sure you've got the right people on the bus and the right seats, early on.
No, I think that's one of the masterful strategy. Yeah.
I was going to say, one of the main things you can pray for me right now, guys, I don't know, by the time you watch this video, this may not be an issue anymore. One thing I'm really trying to, and a big part of my, you can call it core team at the Summit Network, call it the launch team. One of the reasons they do that is to say that core team can sometimes feel like if somebody leaves it after a year or gets through it and leaves you, the fact that you lost someone from your core team feels like a huge hit, versus a launch team, the perspective is, let's get this off the ground. And if God calls you somewhere else in a year, you were part of the launch team, and everyone doesn't feel like you were part of the core. So that's a kind of a semantics thing a little bit, but they're really the same thing. But one of the main things that I'm looking at is trying to find an executive pastor.
Okay.
Well, and I think this is again a more recent development with the Summit Network. I don't know. We had about a 4-hour session on this the other day, but the Summit prefers to, not in every situation, but send guys out with two guys that are both on staff, at least in some capacity. The lead pastor, that would be me, then an executive pastor, and so one of the things, trying to find an executive pastor, someone who would, as we say, would complete, not compete.
Yeah.
Someone doesn't want to be a lead pastor, obviously has the qualifications elder in 1 Timothy 3, 1 Peter 5, Titus 1, but somebody who really functions in more of a implementing vision, overseeing staff, not an administrative system, has administrative giftings and leanings. That's a big thing, man. I'm really, and as a millennial, those born between 1980 and 2000, we prefer to work in teams, and I really would love, one of my biggest prayer requests to people is I've been praying for them, saying, Lord, pray that I find a right-hand man that could do this work with me from day one.
Yeah.
I'd rather have a core team of 5 people that have an elder than have a core team of 30 and have no other elder.
No, I think that's a brilliant thing. We in this class, the students project, there's 9 students, and so they're in groups of 3. They're in 3 church planting teams. One person is kind of the lead planter, so to speak, and they're doing basically building a prospectus, doing a lot of research throughout the whole semester as a team and collaborating to put together. Basically, they're going to plant a church on paper, and so I think that the team aspect is essential. And man, I appreciate you sharing both how you're recruiting, the questions that you're asking of these people, and that you are actively and wisely seeking that executive kind of right-hand man to join you on mission, not to be your assistant, but to be your co-laborer. And I think that's great.
That's right. Yeah.
Man, we as a class will commit to pray for that for you. So, dude, thank you for this. This has been super helpful. I know it's going to bless our students, and it's going to get them, because in the next couple of years they're going to be right in your shoes. They're going to be doing the same thing. They're going to be being sent out by a church. They're going to be recruiting and putting this together. So I think your input today is going to be a great service to our students. And like I said, man, Piedmont is your place to come and recruit. So when you're ready, man, we'll bring you down. We'll get you in front of our students. And I'd love to have some of our students. We have a stellar group of students this year, and I would love for them to get connected with you and your team coming, man.
Man, I love that.
All right, man. Well, hey, want to sign off.
Man.
Hey, appreciate it so much, and I'm going to go ahead and close off our recording.